What really happens inside the mind of someone with an IQ of 160? Are they living in a completely different reality than the rest of us? And here's the twist. Why do many extremely intelligent people struggle with things that seem simple to everyone else? Today, we're decoding the psychology of extremely high IQ individuals, and the science might surprise you. I'm your host at Mind Decoded. Let's dive in. First, let's establish what we mean by extremely high IQ. The average IQ is 100. By definition, about 68% of people fall between 85 and 115. This is the bell curve you've probably heard about. Most people cluster around the middle. An IQ above 130 puts you in the top 2%. That's about 1 in 50 people. Above 145, you're in the top 0.1%, roughly 1 in 1,000. And above 160, we're talking 1 in tens of thousands. These are the people often labeled as gifted, genius, or intellectually exceptional. To put this in perspective, someone with an IQ of 145 has as much difficulty relating to an average person as an average person has relating to someone with an IQ of 55, which is considered intellectually disabled. The cognitive gap is symmetrical, and it profoundly affects how these individuals experience the world. But here's what most people get wrong. High IQ doesn't mean you're good at everything. It's not a superpower that makes life easier across the board. In fact, research shows that extreme intelligence comes with a unique set of psychological patterns, both advantages and challenges that most people never consider. Psychologist Lewis Terman conducted one of the longest studies on gifted individuals, tracking over 1,500 high IQ children from 1921 until their deaths. What he found was far more complex than smart people succeed at everything. Some thrived, becoming successful scientists, writers, and professionals, but others struggled with depression, social isolation, and underachievement. Intelligence alone wasn't the determining factor for life satisfaction or success. So what actually happens in the brain of someone with extremely high IQ? 3 key differences stand out, and they fundamentally change how these individuals process reality. First, processing speed. Research using fMRI scans shows that high IQ individuals often have faster neural processing in specific brain regions, particularly the prefrontal cortex, which handles complex reasoning, and the parietal cortex, which integrates sensory information. But here's the catch. Faster isn't always better. Many report experiencing what psychologists call cognitive overflow. Their minds generate so many connections, patterns, and possibilities that decision-making can actually become harder. While an average person might consider 3 options when choosing what to eat, a high IQ individual might simultaneously process 15 variables: nutritional content, long-term health implications, ethical sourcing, environmental impact, cost-benefit analysis, and more. The result? What should be a simple choice becomes paralyzing. Second, exceptional pattern recognition. People with high IQs excel at seeing connections others miss. They spot inconsistencies, predict outcomes, and identify abstract relationships with unusual accuracy. Show them a complex system, and they'll intuitively understand how the parts interconnect. This sounds great, right? But in social situations, this can backfire significantly. When you're constantly analyzing patterns in conversations, reading between the lines, predicting social dynamics 3 moves ahead, and detecting inconsistencies in what people say versus what they mean, small talk becomes mentally exhausting. You're running a complex algorithm while everyone else is just chatting. Every casual conversation feels like playing chess when others are playing checkers. There's also what researchers call the curse of seeing problems. High IQ individuals often spot inefficiencies, flaws, and potential disasters that others miss. This can make them seem negative or critical, when really, they're just seeing patterns that are invisible to others. Imagine watching someone build a house and immediately seeing that the foundation will fail in 5 years. You can't unsee it, and staying quiet feels dishonest. Third, enhanced working memory and information integration. High IQ individuals can hold more information in mind simultaneously and connect it to their vast knowledge base. They're constantly linking new information to everything they already know, creating a rich web of interconnected knowledge. The downside, what psychologists call existential intelligence. They're more likely to grapple with big, unanswerable questions about meaning, purpose, mortality, and existence. It's not depression. It's a mind that won't stop questioning the fundamental nature of reality. Why are we here? What is consciousness? What happens after death? These aren't occasional philosophical musings. They're persistent background processes that can interfere with enjoying simple moments. Now let's talk about something researchers call the isolation of intelligence. This is where things get really interesting and where many high IQ individuals face their greatest challenges. Studies show that people tend to form friendships with others within about 15 IQ points of themselves. Why? Because communication styles, interests, humor, and ways of processing information operate on different wavelengths. It's not snobbery, it's compatibility. Imagine constantly having to translate your thoughts into simpler terms, or being genuinely fascinated by topics that bore most people to tears, or making connections in conversation that seem obvious to you, but leave others completely confused, staring at you like you just spoke in another language. Psychologist Maraka Gruss studied profoundly gifted children and found that many reported feeling different from a very early age. Not superior, just fundamentally different. Like they were speaking a different language, even when using the same words. One participant described it as living behind glass, able to see others, but never quite connecting. This sense of difference often starts in childhood. Gifted children might be fascinated by philosophy at age 7 or spend hours absorbed in complex topics while their peers are playing tag. They ask questions that adults find uncomfortable. Why do people believe things without evidence? Or, if time is relative, does the past still exist somewhere? Teachers often don't know what to do with them. This leads to what's called cognitive masking, deliberately dumbing down your vocabulary, hiding your interests, pretending not to understand things quickly, or deliberately making mistakes so you don't stand out. Many high IQ individuals learn to do this unconsciously, starting in childhood, just to fit in and avoid social rejection. The psychological cost. A constant tension between authenticity and acceptance, between being yourself and being understood, between using your full cognitive abilities and maintaining relationships. Many describe it as wearing a costume in most social interactions, showing only the parts of themselves that others can relate to. So here's the bottom line. Extreme intelligence isn't a blessing or a curse. It's simply a different way of experiencing reality. If this resonated with you, drop a comment below and subscribe to Mind Decoded for more psychology explained clearly. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.